Hi, please listen to this warning. This is not an official NextBase video. It is a personal record of how I changed the internal battery on my NextBase 512G Dashcam. Follow this method at your own risk. What I'm going to do now is attempt to change a battery in a NextBase 512G. If, like me, you've bought a couple of them for various vehicles and then you find that it makes that noise all the time because the battery's flat or going dead, it won't hold a charge, then 150 quid for a new camera versus £1.87 for a new battery on Amazon. They're £1.87 if you're prepared to wait 2 weeks and they arrive from Hong Kong. If you really want it next day delivery, then as I did, you can pay about £8.99 and then get on with the job. The reason I'm doing this is because I went onto YouTube to find out to try and find a video on how to do it, and I couldn't find one anywhere. But what I did find on one of the forums was a telephone number for NextBase, and at request they sent out to me a set of instructions on how to do it via email. Arrived within about 5 minutes, and I'm going to work my way through these instructions and hopefully I'll be able to do the job. The first thing I notice is that the instructions actually say they're for the NextBase 402G, but from reading around it seems that all of these NextBase cameras in this series are the same, basically, as far as the physical structure of taking them apart is concerned. Okay, having found I had a faulty screwdriver which I've had to super glue the end in, I'm going to take these 4 screws off on the top, which are holding the thing together. As you can see, the camera is actually pointing towards me, so I have to try and remember to point the camera in the right direction. So the front screw and the second screw, let's see the difference in the lengths. Well, if there is a difference, it's very subtle. So I put the front screws in one box and the other one, back one's in the second box. I find one of the advantages of videoing things is that later on you can play it back if you can't find where the screws went. Okay, can't say that there seems to be any difference between those screws. What I'm going to be quite careful about doing is really watching what's going on here so I can put it back together later. So the top now just clips off, it can go up there. Remove the top cap, then remove the next 4 screws below, and if you look in there, very difficult under this black on black lighting, but there are 4 screws there, and they're probably the shorter ones actually. So take those out. Oh, they're the longer ones, so those other 4 are the same, so they can all go in box 1. And then these ones, which are longer, I'll put in box 2. And there's one doesn't want to come out. There she comes. I'm going to have fun getting them back in. Right, so that's the 4 screws off the top. Loosen the GPS module and lift. There we are, there's the GPS module, that little thing there. It just lifts straight out. Okay, and then you, without losing the wire, just take that off. There, that's easy. I'm going to stop it there for a second and read the next bit. Okay, now it says use a metal ply tool less than half a centimetre as shown below in order to make a gap between the front and rear housings. Now that is a bit of a problem because my one is definitely more than half a centimetre. So I'll try one of these tools that come with the soldering iron and see if that does the job. Right, I'm going to put it in there. See, there's the two holes at the top, and you know, the back we're talking about here, and just ease that away. It says, yep, it's going in. Right, put it in and just ease it slightly away. Yep, that's done. You can see that on the camera. That's done. In order to make a gap at the front and rear housings, do not twist the tool, do not push beyond half a centimetre. Place a plastic pry tool, run the casing along. Okay, so let's find a plastic tool. There we are. And then with the plastic tool, slide it along. Right, now what I've found is actually the wider one works better. What's important is I don't push it in more than half a centimetre. And now I'm going to try it again with the plastic pry tool. See if that works. There we are. One there, and perhaps another one on the other side. And that's difficult to see. I've got it out a certain amount. It's very difficult to do this so you can see it on the camera. Right, there's obviously a second clip along there somewhere. This is much more difficult than I expected it to be, but there again, I've never done this sort of thing before. Whew, this is hard. Now the silly thing about all this is it says you must turn the camera off, but one of the reasons we have a problem and why you need to do this in the first place is it's physically impossible to turn the camera off when the battery won't let it go through its complete close down process. So it keeps doing that forever. Run it down the side, which I've done. Run it down the side there. I haven't really run it down the side there with much success. I'm going to have to use the metal one. The plastic one isn't strong enough. Right, that's the sides done. Now it says run it down the bottom. Put this back in the top. Stop it coming out and done again. What it do, it tends to want to clip back in itself. Oh, there we are. Right, now there we are. Suddenly we have it out. Okay, and there is the battery. You now have access to the battery. You can rest the front of the case on the other side of the lens as below. Okay, the front of the case on the other side of the lens. Well, that means sort of like that, that's what it means. Right, okay, the battery is secured inside with double-sided tape. It can be lifted from the main circuit board. Yes, just like that. Okay. Yeah, again. Oh, I see. I'm sure I'm probably meant to be wearing anti-statics here, but what it doesn't make very clear, this battery's got a metal heatsink, which is not in the picture. So we're cutting through the double-sided tape a bit. Right, that's out. That double-sided tape can be reused, I think. Right, they can be desoldered with a soldering iron. Let's turn this off and get the soldering iron on. Right, now I've got it out, I can compare it with the new one, and there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever those are the same 3.7 250 milliamp hour battery. So that's okay. It looks like they're made from some remote controlled aeroplane or something. Right, the main difference is that the one that at the moment is soldered on to the lead, to the board, and this one comes with plugs. So I'm obviously going to have to cut this cable off and then prepare it and solder it and tin it, which I'm not going to do on camera because my soldering is awful. So now what I need to do, I think, is just I've never soldered anything as small as this. I've never messed around with circuit boards, so this is all new to me as well. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can. Right, my problem the first time I tried to desolder it was that the soldering tip, this was too small, to be quite honest. There's no other word. There can be nothing else that caused the problem. It was just too small to get any heat across in the right area. So now I've got straight out now. Must remember the black one is furthest away from the lens. Let's try again. First one did easy, second one easy. Yes, one very slight problem I have is that the cables on the new battery, which is in this hand, are actually shorter than the old cables. You can see, so the longer cables and the original battery, the new one has got shorter cables. That means if I put it back in exactly the same place, it's not going to reach. So I'm going to have to take a chance here and put it round the other way. I can't see how else I can do that. Okay, I'll just try it. It'll either work or it won't. Right, if I had realised about this cable length problem earlier on, what I would have done, of course, is not unsoldered the cable from the motherboard, but just cut the cable and then join the two soldered ends together, which would have given me the extra length. However, I am where I am. I'm going to try and get round it. Okay, let's see if this will go. It's definitely not an easy job. Bearing in mind I've had no soldering training. I just picked up and had a go at it. And I don't think the temperature of the soldering iron was anywhere near what it should be. Now theoretically, that battery should be round that way, but there's no way it's going to reach, and I don't really want the hassle of trying to join cables and insulate and then find there isn't room to do it. So we're going to have a look from the other battery and see when it's in the right place, which is against that switch, where it comes to. It comes well up there, so I should be alright to put it like that way round. Okay, there's plenty of room inside the camera case for the wire sticking out the end there. Right, if I switch it on, I wonder if it'll work. I need to check. Oh, and it hasn't gone straight off again. And we got a picture on the screen. So that's worked. I just switched it off there deliberately. Okay, so it's soldered, it's put in position. Pretty tatty soldering job, but it seems to be doing the job. And then let's just go and quick check there's no safety thing. It says do be very careful with the cable wire, the grey wire, when you're putting it back in the GPS wire. It should have the foam pad pacing upwards. Well, there wasn't a foam pad on the other side of that camera anyway, but we got that side up. Okay, align the front of the case with the back of the case. There we are. Make sure there are no wires protruding. Yeah. Before clipping the case back, hold it together loosely and stand it on the base. Locate the grey wire into the GPS moulding. Yeah, that's no problem. Like that. Okay. Clip the case back together. Right, it's not clipping back together, so let's just see why. Got it the right way up. Yes. Bottom went in first before, so put the bottom in first again. There we are. There we are. It clips in. You can tell I've had it open. I'm not going to pretend you can't. But if it gives us a few more months use out of the thing before. Okay. With the black tape on the same side as the... Note the GPS unit back in place with the black tape on the same side as the USB socket. So that goes to there. That way around. It's the USB socket. Okay. Oh, it doesn't say anything. It hasn't actually told me to put the screws on. Now place the top cap back on. Right, so we'll put those screws back in. I don't think I need to see that on the video camera really. But those screws are going to go in there. That's all done and tidy. So what have I learnt from doing this? Well, first thing is learn how to use the tools properly, because I didn't really understand how to use a pry tool. I've subsequently found out that in my kit there was a nice tool here with a flat edge that I probably could have used it much easier. Although it does say don't twist over. Make sure your screwdrivers are suitable. I had to araldite this one halfway through the process because the end was spinning round. Get used to soldering, because it's the two solder points on the board are very, very close together. So you've got to know, you've got to be able to be quite confident with fine soldering. I had to go and get a magnifying glass because at my age, 70 odd years old, I couldn't even really see it in that much detail close up. Enough, but not as good as it would have been 20 years ago. Okay, let's put that on the top there and put the last 4 screws on, which are all the same length. It was the ones inside that were different. And then that should be job done. All we'll do then is clean the lens, because I've been handling it so much. I've got big fingerprints right over the lens now. And of course this camera has a polarizing filter on it, so that has probably turned at some point during the process as well, so I'll have to recheck the polarization when I put it back in the car. And I've just saved myself 130 quid at the worst if I'd have thrown it away. Bearing in mind I've spent between 20 and 25 quid ish for the bits to do the job, which I'm still going to use forevermore. I've got another battery coming from Hong Kong, as I say, at £1.87 from Amazon. So really I could have, if I'd have had the tools to start with, I could have done the job for £1.87 and about what should have been about 10 to 15 minutes work, I dare say. Took me longer because I was trying to get it on camera for a start, which isn't easy to do because I'm working away from myself and I hadn't used any of the tools before. I've never used a pry tool in my life. Right, it's not the neatest of jobs, but it's good. I'll get a lens cloth, and here's the finished job. Reasonably neat at the top. Very neat on the edges and the bottom, no signs of any marks there. Yep, that's right. And we'll switch it on. I have it upside down because of the way it's fitted in my car. There it comes. That's fine. Right. And that'll do nicely. Well, that's how I did it. I'm sure most of you can do a much better and neater job than I did, but that was alright for my purposes. Don't forget it works with other cameras in the range. This was the 512G, but it works with the 402G as well, and probably some others. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.